Limpopo Premier Stanley Mathabatha backed his Health MEC's approach in lobbying those who sell alcohol to consider turning away unvaccinated customers. Health MEC Poppy Ramathuba reportedly indicated that they had already started to lobby the alcohol industry in the province to ask that they work together to curb COVID-19 cases. Premier Mathabatha earlier this week launched the vaccination drive for those aged 18 years and above at the Jack Boethus Hall in Polokwane. He now joins me live via our video line. Premier, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Now, the MEC has sent a very clear message to say that if you aren't vaccinated, you won't be receiving help from those liquor traders. Give us a sense of why you are supporting this call.
No, I don't think the MEC was understood perfectly the way he intended the message to be heard. The MEC was simply saying, look, people must go and vaccinate. If you don't go and vaccinate, you'll then lead the government to end up declaring, because the fourth wave is coming in any event, the scientists have already confirmed to us. You will end up making us to go into level 4 or 5 again. And once that happens, it means even the liquor trade is going to close, it's going to shut down, because liquor has been identified as one of the super spreaders. So because we know that you young people, 18 and above, many of you take alcohol and you like this beverage. So for you not to lose that privilege of enjoying the beverage, make sure that you don't make it, you go and vaccinate, so that at the end of the day, level 4 is not declared, because we shall have reached herd immunity. That is basically what the MEC was saying. If you all vaccinate, will then reach herd immunity, and the beverage that you like, many of you, being alcohol, you will continue getting it. But if you don't vaccinate, then you will not be able to get this beverage, because we shall not have reached herd immunity. And when level 4 comes, it will find us flat-footed. We shall not have reached that herd immunity. So as a result, you will not be able to enjoy the beverage. That is what the MEC was saying. It was not like you are going to go into a liquor outlet and produce a vaccination certificate. If you don't have it, you don't get alcohol. No, we know that whether you should vaccinate or not is your constitutional right. This decision is yours. But we are urging and encouraging people to do so.
Well, Premier, I do understand and really appreciate your explanation of your understanding of what the MEC has said, but I want to get a sense of whether you've started engaging stakeholders in the alcohol industry to see how they can also assist in your efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Yes, they are participants, they are active participants in our campaign. Yes, we are meeting with them, we have already engaged them.
But now the issue
but not in the sense of saying that you should stop people if they don't have a certificate, vaccination certificate.
And the issue of alcohol contributing to this spreading of COVID-19 has also been a very contentious issue. What have you observed in this regard?
Well, I mean, common sense, I'm giving you a layman analysis. Common sense will tell you that when people take alcohol, they normally don't put on their masks. And once you don't put on your mask, then chances of catching the virus are very high. So, and not only that, sometimes they sing, some sing, and some are dancing, they are very close to each other. Some are even in a very intoxicated level that they don't even observe any of the regulations any longer. So you can see that all those parameters gives you high probabilities that alcohol may be a super spreader.
Like you carefully outlined a short while ago, it's very important that we get the proper sense of what is meant in government's messaging around the COVID-19 pandemic. You did mention that as things stand, South Africans are not forced to get vaccinated. But speak to us about your own administration's messaging around COVID-19 and helping people understand that their rights also need to be protected and that they are not exactly compelled to take this vaccine.
We always make it very clear to our people that we are not compelling you. We are not saying whether you like it or not, you must vaccinate. We are saying we are persuading you to vaccinate because it's in your own good and the people around you. So the best thing for the people around you and yourself, if you still want to stay alive, then vaccinate. We do understand that it's a constitutional right. The decision is an individual's decision, and it is within his constitutional rights, whether he wants to vaccinate or not. But in our messaging, we try by all means to make it very clear to people that we are only persuading you, we are not forcing you to.
Well, Premier, if you'll allow me, I just want to take a short caption of what the MEC has said here. She says that if our alcohol industry can come on board and indicate that they have the right to refuse to sell alcohol to someone who refuses to be vaccinated, it's just a matter of now finding a way to balance the rights issue here. But give us a sense of the legal implications that this may have. How do you plan to balance the matter of rights here? In the case where, let's say, the alcohol industry does come on board and say, well, we have the right not to sell to particular people.
Supposing the MEC did say that, but the liquor industry is not obliged to take the MEC's score. Because at the end of the day, the decision, if you are a responsible corporate person, you will make it a point that you first assess as to whether what you are doing is legal or illegal. Because once you do that, that will be illegal. It will be unconstitutional. So that is why we are saying the intention of the message was not like alcohol is going to be an access card. I mean the vaccination certificate card, is going to be an access card to an alcohol entity or alcohol center or alcohol outlet. That was not the intention of the message. The intention of the message was to encourage the young people to go and vaccinate, because if they don't do so, then it means they will lose the privilege. They will be deprived of the privilege of consuming that beverage.
Now, Premier, as we wrap up our conversation, let's also speak about the Limpopo province's vaccination drive. I mean, what have you seen in as far as the uptake for those aged between 18 to 34 years old to take their jab?
From my side, as the head of the province, I wouldn't know the latest as up till today, but as till yesterday, and so we saw young people coming in their numbers to come and vaccinate. A number of parents also, we saw a number of parents also bringing their kids, bringing their sons and daughters to come and vaccinate. So I'm to this level, I'm happy, but I know my MEC is not an easy person to please. You may find that she's still not happy with the numbers, but in as far as the numbers are currently, I think I'm satisfied.
Now, Premier, if you'll indulge me on a completely separate matter now regarding politics, the ANC Deputy Secretary General, that's Jesse Duarte, ordered that the ANC's Limpopo Secretary, Soviet Lechanyani, to implement the step-aside rule against the party's provincial treasurer, that's Danny Msiza. Of course, he's decided to step aside. Are you encouraged by this move?
The context of this thing is normally distorted. If people and the public out there are consuming information that says that gives an impression that Danny Msiza was refusing to step aside, which is not the case. Danny Msiza has never refused to step aside. When he wanted to step aside, The PEC, the Provincial Executive Committee, said, look, because you have already stepped aside for 2 years, so your case must be treated differently from other cases. Because already, on the same matter, you had already stepped aside for 2 years, and the term of office of a provincial treasurer is 4 years, which means 50% of your term of office, you are not in office. And the branches elected you to come and service them, not to stay, not to go and sit, to step aside and sit at home. So let's get professional advice on this matter before you step aside. Oh. That's why the PEC got professional advice. And the professional advice came and said, this will be what you call double jeopardy. I'm not a lawyer. Double jeopardy. And if it is perceived to be double jeopardy, it means you are punishing this person twice on the same matter. So perhaps if you have to take our advice, Mr. Msiza must not step aside. We then said, okay, that is just an advice that we requested from the senior counsel. But at the end of the day, there's this resolution from the organization. And remember, the ANC is a voluntary organization. Then we said, as the PEC, we can't just decide here. This decision is an NEC decision. So let's hear the NEC out on this matter. We then referred the matter to the NEC until the DSG wrote us a letter and said to the PEC, not to the secretary, said to the PEC that there is no need for the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in Limpopo to meet with the officials. In as far as we are concerned, we are not, the NEC has taken this decision that everybody that has been charged must step aside. And immediately, without anybody saying anything to Mr. Msiza, to Comrade D, he then wrote us a letter, same day. He wrote us a letter, said, comrades, because now we have been, you said we are waiting for the NEC to give us direction. NEC has now given us a directive. Now I'm stepping aside. It's not like you are saying, I don't want to step aside. I must now be bulldozed out of the office. No. He has never said that. He has never done that. Denim Caesar remains a disciplined member of the African National Congress. He's a leader of the African National Congress. He grew in this movement, literally grew up in this movement. When he joined the movement, he was still a teenager, an early teenager.
Well, you've heard it
so
there from...
I don't think we can now paint him with that kind of pride. No.
Well, you've heard it
so
there from...
what we are simply saying is that the resolution of the movement must be respected.
Well, you've heard the Premier of Limpopo there, that's Stanley Mathabatha, setting the record straight on a number of issues, including comments made by his Health MEC, Popi Ramathuba, and of course the issue of the stepping aside there of Denim Caesar, the treasurer of the ANC in the province. Well,